In Shaanxi's Pingyang Prefecture, there was a young scholar named Wang Pingzi. In the year of the imperial examination, he traveled to Beijing to participate in the provincial examination of Shuntian Prefecture. He rented a room in Baoguo Temple to stay. In the temple, there was another young scholar from Yuhang County in Zhejiang who arrived earlier and became his neighbor. Wang Pingzi presented his visiting card to him, hoping to meet, but the Yuhang scholar ignored him. Whenever they encountered each other in the morning or evening, the Yuhang scholar showed great arrogance. Annoyed by this arrogant attitude, Wang Pingzi decided to give up on establishing any interaction with him. One day, a young man dressed in white attire with a white hat visited Baoguo Temple. He had an extraordinary aura. Wang Pingzi approached the young man and engaged in conversation. The young man's words were witty and full of humor. Wang Pingzi greatly admired him and learned that his name was Song, and he hailed from Dengzhou Prefecture in Shandong. Wang Pingzi invited him to sit, and they conversed. Coincidentally, the Yuhang scholar passed by. Both Wang Pingzi and the young man stood up to offer him their seats. Surprisingly, the Yuhang scholar took the higher seat without showing any modesty. He then asked the young man, "Are you also here to take the provincial examination?" The young man replied, "No, I am a person of limited talent, with no ambitious aspiration." The Yuhang scholar continued, "Which province are you from?" The young man revealed that he was from Shandong. The Yuhang scholar remarked, "In the north, few understand literature, and neither Shaanxi nor Shandong has anyone proficient in writing." The young man responded, "Indeed, few in the north understand literature, but just because someone does not understand does not mean it's me. In the south, many understand literature, yet being knowledgeable does not necessarily apply to you." He clapped his hands, and Wang Pingzi joined in, resulting in hearty laughter. The Yuhang scholar, embarrassed, raised his eyebrows and laughed. Because of this incident, Wang Pingzi respected the young man even more. One day, he invited the young man to his lodging, and they talked for a long time. Wang Pingzi showed the young man all the essays he had written and sought his advice. The young man read through the essays quickly, explaining their flaws one by one. He commented that Wang Pingzi's essays showed depth but lacked a strong underlying conviction when writing, resulting in lower quality. He then took out the essays that he had already read and explained them to Wang Pingzi. Grateful, Wang Pingzi treated him as a mentor and prepared sweet dumplings for him. The young man enjoyed them and requested another serving in the future. After these encounters, Wang Pingzi's relationship with the young man grew closer. They met frequently, and the young man would often visit to enjoy the sweet dumplings Wang Pingzi prepared for him. The Yuhang scholar's arrogance diminished when he saw the young man and Wang Pingzi's camaraderie. One day, the Yuhang scholar showed his essays to the young man. The young man glanced at the papers covered in circles and comments, and he put them on the table without saying a word. The Yuhang scholar suspected that the young man hadn't read them and asked for his advice again. The young man assured him that he had read them. The Yuhang scholar further doubted if the young man truly understood them. The young man said, "What's so difficult to understand? It's just not well written." The Yuhang scholar questioned, "You only saw the circles and comments. How do you know they're not good?" The young man confidently recited the Yuhang scholar's essays, as if he had memorized them. As he recited, he pointed out the flaws in the essays. Feeling embarrassed, the Yuhang scholar left without a word. Days later, the results of the provincial examination were released. The Yuhang scholar surprisingly passed the examination, while Wang Pingzi did not. The young man and Wang Pingzi told this to the blind monk, who sighed and commented, "Although I am blind, I still have my sense of smell. Those examiners must have blind noses." Later, the Yuhang scholar came to brag about his success to the blind monk, who retorted that he only commented on their essays and wasn't fortune-telling. The Yuhang scholar then challenged the blind monk to distinguish between the essays of different examiners, to which the blind monk humorously responded, asking him to burn the essays and let him sniff the ashes. After a few days, the Yuhang scholar did not return to the temple. Upon investigation, they found out he had left, realizing that he was a disciple of one of the examiners. Song comforted Wang Pingzi, saying, "As scholars, we shouldn't blame others. Instead, we should strictly discipline ourselves. By refraining from blaming others, our morality can be elevated, and through self-discipline, our knowledge will deepen. The current disappointment may be due to bad luck, but objectively speaking, haven't you already written excellent essays? As long as you redouble your efforts, there will always be people who appreciate your talent in the world." Wang Pingzi listened respectfully. He learned that there would be another provincial examination the following year, so he chose to stay in Beijing and seek guidance from Song. Song told Wang Pingzi that although the cost of living in the capital was high, he need not worry about it. He revealed the location of a buried treasure in the backyard, suggesting that Wang Pingzi could dig it up and use it. However, Wang Pingzi declined, stating that he wished to maintain his reputation for integrity. One day, while Wang Pingzi was drunk and asleep, his servants and cooks secretly went to dig up the buried treasure. Wang Pingzi suddenly woke up, heard noises, and went to investigate. He found them with piles of silver on the ground. Upon seeing Wang Pingzi, they knelt down in fear. Rather than scolding them, Wang Pingzi noticed inscriptions on some gold cups that bore his grandfather's name. Wang Pingzi's grandfather had been an official in the south and lived in Beijing before passing away due to illness. The silver had been left behind by his grandfather. Wang Pingzi was delighted to find over 800 taels of silver. The next day, he informed Song and showed him a gold cup, intending to share the treasure, but Song firmly declined. Wang Pingzi also gifted 100 taels of silver to the blind monk, who had already left. In the following months, Wang Pingzi immersed himself even more in his studies. The examination time arrived again, and Song said, "If you don't succeed this time, it truly is fate." Unexpectedly, Wang Pingzi's examination qualification was revoked due to a breach of regulations. While Wang Pingzi showed no bitterness, Song burst into tears. Wang Pingzi consoled Song instead, saying that misfortune had befallen him due to the heavens' jealousy. He added that although he had endured a life of poverty and setbacks, it had indirectly affected his friend as well. He expressed that they must accept their fates. Wang Pingzi revealed that he wasn't a living person, but a wandering soul with a desire to see his works passed down. He shared his past of continuous failures in imperial exams and his connection with Wang Pingzi, noting that they must part now due to their unfortunate fate on the exam grounds. Wang Pingzi asked what official position Song was given in the afterlife. Song explained that a position as a document official had been offered temporarily, with an ear-deaf book servant temporarily substituting, contributing to the reversal of his literary fate. He vowed to promote the noble teachings if he were to obtain this position. The next day, Song joyfully informed Wang Pingzi that his wish was granted. Confucius allowed him to compose a treatise on human nature, expressing his happiness with the work and allowing him to assume the position of a document official. However, Yama had objected to his appointment, citing his unrestrained speech as a reason. Confucius had fought on his behalf to secure the position. Song added that moral character was valued more by the afterlife than literary prowess. Wang Pingzi inquired about the moral character of the Yuhang scholar, but Song wasn't aware. He explained the distinction between reward and punishment in the underworld, indicating that even the blind monk they encountered was a ghost. He was a scholar in his previous life who had been punished for excessive paper wastage. Wang Pingzi prepared food and wine, but Song declined, saying he didn't need much time left and only requested some dumplings. Song expressed his gratitude by eating the dumplings Wang Pingzi prepared. He explained that the dumplings he had eaten before had turned into mushrooms in the backyard, and he collected them to use as medicine. Wang Pingzi asked when they would meet again, to which Song replied that he should avoid raising suspicion now that he held an official position. He also asked if he could meet Song by offering sacrifices at the temple of the god of literature. Song said it wouldn't have any particular benefit. He reassured Wang Pingzi that if he continued to accumulate good deeds and stayed virtuous, the underworld would eventually inform him of his deeds. After bidding farewell, Song disappeared. Wang Pingzi observed the mushrooms in the backyard, and next to them was a newly formed mound. Wang Pingzi returned home and intensified his studies. One night, he dreamt of Song arriving in a carriage with an umbrella, telling him that his misdeed of accidentally killing a servant girl had been redeemed through his improved character. However, his thin fate still denied him the prospect of becoming an official. That year, he passed the provincial examination and became a jinshi. The next year, he became a successful candidate in the imperial examination. From then on, Wang Pingzi no longer sought advancement. As for Yuhang scholar, history claims, the Yuhang scholar blatantly praised himself, suggesting that his written essays might not necessarily be without merit. Yet, his arrogant and deceitful demeanor reached a point where people could no longer tolerate it, even momentarily. Both heaven and humanity had long discarded him, allowing spirits and deities to mock him. If only he had cultivated his moral character more diligently. Those examiners who produce nauseatingly terrible essays wouldn't be such a rare sight in the examination halls. Encountering them would be an ordinary occurrence.
Alright, this story has come to an end. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you.